Good morning and welcome to the East Tennessee Report. The East Tennessee Report is a public affairs program of the Summit Media Corp Knoxville Radio Group, and I'm Kim Hansard. For the next 15 minutes, I'm going to be talking with someone I'm very excited to talk with about something I'm very excited to talk about. It is the Van Gogh Knoxville Immersive Experience, and it's going to be here through the summer and hopefully longer. It's something we've never experienced here in Knoxville before, in the Knoxville area. I have experienced something like this in Atlanta. Some of the larger cities have things like this, and I'm so excited to talk about it being here in our area. My guest for the next 15 minutes is John Zoller, executive producer of the exhibition hub for the Van Gogh Knoxville Immersive Experience. Good morning.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and I've been looking forward to this since we set up this time together. I want to talk with you about how you started this immersive experience for artists, and just what it's about, because it seems like it would be so easy to describe what this is, but then I find lacking words. Because it's a beautiful experience.
Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience, comes out of years and years of working on different types of exhibitions and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked on all types of traveling museum exhibitions, theme park attractions, and what I always try to do, and what we're always trying to do at Exhibition Hub, is push the envelope of storytelling. So as we got more and more familiar with digital technology, we started to incorporate more of that into our experiences. And soon we realized, hey, we could take a bunch of projectors. We can create in a completely immersive room where you're surrounded in 360 all around you and on the floor and on the walls, just completely bathed in digital content. And we said, what would that best artist be to launch this?
Mm-hmm.
And that was Van Gogh, because Van Gogh's work is so emotive. It has so much movement in it already that it completely lends itself to this digital technology. And that's really the crown jewel of Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience, is that immersive room.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a lot of other galleries where you're learning about the artist in many ways, which makes the experience so special because you really get connected to the artist himself.
And that's what I felt at the experience that I've experienced. My husband, son, and I had an experience like this in Atlanta for Monet. And that's one of your experiences
That's right.
As well.
Yep, you were in our building in Atlanta.
Yes, and it was tremendous. And you hit the nail on the head because you talk about how there's galleries that you go through before you go to the full-on immersive experience. So you do feel like you know the artist.
That's
and
true.
We had read a little bit about and felt like we knew Monet before we did this. So because we wanted our son, he was a bit younger when we did this, and we wanted him to feel like he knew, because everything's an educational thing without them knowing they're learning.
Exactly. You gotta make it so that information just flows in.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you read about them as you go through. You have information throughout, and you have pieces exhibited, and you have it's a wonderful experience. It's not there's not a boring part about it.
The
way
work
it's set
really
up
does come to life. And in the immersive experience, we do have our big 4,000 square foot room,
mm-hmm.
but then we have several other smaller immersive
Yes.
galleries throughout the experience as well. So when you get into Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience at Foothills Mall, there's an 8-foot tall bust of Van Gogh that we're projecting his self-portraits onto.
Yes.
So that's when you first come in. So it's almost like Van Gogh is greeting you when you walk in, and you're learning. This is what we're saying is, this is who you're going to learn about, and this is how you're going to learn about him. Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience. Van Gogh through digital projection technology.
How wonderful is that? I mean, how wonderful is that? And you've read all these things, you know all these things, and then you're in a relaxing atmosphere, and then you don't want to leave. The art is projected around you on the floor, on the ceiling, on the walls.
We had to come and get you out of the room in Atlanta. Yeah.
I mean, I really did not want to go. Some people who were with us, were leaving and one, moving on out. And there we are. And it's like you are in the works of art.
Well, and that's really, we do encourage people, take your time. Let it just wash over you. Stay for a couple of showings. It's that special of an experience. And that room is really, it's a great room. We have 20-foot high walls. It's 4,000 square feet of just digital projection. That room also will be doing yoga classes in there. We're going to be doing painting classes in there.
Oh,
So it's going to lend itself to a lot of different opportunities to just experience art in an entirely new way.
you really feel it.
You really do, and you saw this with Monet, but even more so with Van Gogh. We have this incredible soaring score that matches the artist's moods as we go through the various artworks. We're displaying over 400 of his artworks in the immersive gallery, and each one is accompanied by this score as they develop. It's very powerful, and that music really stays with you.
And let's talk about his moods and his the scores that you're talking about, how intense and everything they are. Because when he was doing Starry Night in particular,
Yep.
he was in a facility. Because and we're talking about this in particular now. Mental health is always so important, but May in particular is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're talking more now than ever about mental health and its importance. And I think, the advent of COVID really had us all talking more and more about mental health, brought it to the forefront. And it's good that we're talking about it because the stigmas are moving away. But back in Van Gogh's time, sometimes they didn't know what was going on. They were just mad.
They had no idea. I mean, Van Gogh, he was diagnosed post-mortem with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, insomnia, alcoholism, multiple personality disorder. He had the whole gamut of illnesses that are associated with mental health, but there were no tools to treat him. So you wonder if that we had those tools, how much longer would he have lived, and how much more incredible work could he have shared with us? So that's really important. The other thing is there's a real lesson in the way Van Gogh approached it, though. He was aware of his state of mind. But he couldn't explain it to people, and people didn't understand at the time. But what he did was he said, I'm taking this pain and I'm channeling it into beauty. And that's what you see in so many of his paintings is these vivid colors, these incredible landscapes, these wonderful flower paintings, which we have a whole other separate gallery dedicated to projections of all of his flower paintings.
Oh, wow.
But he found a way to treat himself through art. But it was very hard for him to connect with anybody during his life because he was, as you said, the mad artist of the village, and people just didn't know how to deal with him because they didn't understand. We're not having the conversations we're having today about mental health.
Well, they thought there's fear.
Correct.
When you were mad, as they called it, they didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't know what he might do.
That's
or
right.
someone who was in that condition.
And he did have his episodes.
Exactly. Episodes.
Yeah.
And so when you don't know what's going to happen or what they're do or how to treat it, you just put them away.
So he actually ended up committing himself near the end of his life. He had this, the famous ear cutting incident.
Yes.
He didn't necessarily cut off his whole ear, but he was housemates with Paul Gauguin. And they, two incredible painters. And Gauguin was more and more sort of aggressive and critical of Van Gogh's works. Their relationship kind of soured, which was unfortunate because he was very excited to have this other artist in their little mini commune. And one night they had an argument, and actually Gauguin was criticizing Van Gogh's sunflowers paintings, which are now immortal works.
I was
right?
Imagine
But at the
criticizing
time,
it.
I think he called him too much of a native or a barbarian in terms of his style, painting outdoors. And then Van Gogh pulled a razor on him, and Gauguin's left.
Yeah.
And then Van Gogh took that razor and started cutting pieces of his ear. He cut his ear, and then he actually did cut off a small piece of it. The next morning, somebody went by the house, and the doorway was covered in blood. So Gauguin had stayed somewhere else. He came back. The police were there. They arrested him, thinking that he'd killed Van Gogh. And then Van Gogh came out with, just basically a bloody mess. And that was really the worst of his psychotic breaks. That's when after that he checked himself into a health asylum or a mental
Back
health
in that
asylum.
day, it was insane asylum.
And that is where he found the comfort to create some of his most immortal works, like Starry Night, that he painted in that monastery where he had committed. So a place where he could feel safe enough to create. And he was doing much better when he was released. But then, sadly, within a year, he died. The common belief is that he had committed suicide, most likely the case. But there's new research that says maybe he was playing like a Cowboys and Indians game with some village kids, and that they actually shot him.
Oh my goodness.
So
Tragic.
just bad luck,
regardless.
bad luck his whole life, but he persevered. He had
Yeah.
incredible resilience as a person and as an artist.
Mm.
You learn about all that in the experience.
Oh, and you live it.
And that's the thing too. It's one thing to talk about. It's another thing to come to Foothills Mall and see this in real life, larger than life scale. There's no comparison to being there in person.
And if you're an art person, and when I say an art person, if you enjoy art, you don't have to be an artist yourself. If you just enjoy seeing beautiful things and hearing where it comes from, and just listening to you just now, and if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with John Zaller, who is the executive director of these exhibits, the immersive exhibits that it's going to be at the Foothills Mall in Maryville, starting the 22nd of this month. And running through the summer. It's incredible. So you learn this story, you go through the various exhibits, and then you end up in this incredibly all-immersive experience where you can stay and live the art and you're in it. When they say immersive, they mean immersive. You've not experienced anything like this. You feel like you know the person and you're living it as you really go through their art and hear the music. And it's very powerful, very powerful.
And then there's a lot of info on the website too, vangoghexpo.com. But, really the goal is that you sort of go through this experience funnel where first you're in more of a traditional set of exhibit galleries. Using some technology, you're learning about the artist. Then you go into the immersive room, this 4,000 square foot room, and you experience over 400 of his works coming to life in this 35-minute sound and light spectacular. At the end, we have a virtual reality component where you put on a pair of virtual reality goggles and you literally see the world through the artist's eyes. So it's almost like the transformation is complete, that you're now seeing the world through the eyes of Vincent van Gogh. And that's really, it's a fantastic way to end the experience. It's so special that you see the countryside that he loved so much turned into 10 of his most iconic paintings.
It's incredible. It is incredible. If you don't have plans to do this already, you need to make plans to do this.
And with the rainy weather, great way to get out of the rainy weather.
Perfect time to do this.
We're really close to Knoxville, like 20 minutes away. We're 10 minutes from University of Tennessee, and we're right on the road to Sevierville. So I know there's a lot of traffic on the weekends getting into Pigeon Forge. Just pull off at Foothills Mall, enjoy some culture, and then don't worry about the traffic.
And it doesn't matter what area of town you're in. And I know a lot of people have people coming into town to visit throughout the summer. And if you're coming in for the weekends, you're going to be showing them all around. And this is a great time to show them that we have this
world-class experience right here.
We have so many great musical theater things coming around this throughout the season. And this is one of those things you need to add to the things that you're showing to your guests as they come here. And people of all ages. I mean, truly all ages are perfect for this.
4 to 114, but actually 3 to 123.
That's great. So. I mean, you really do need to be a part of this. Now, so tell me where people can get tickets for this and how far in advance they need to get them.
So go to vangoghexpo.com and you select Knoxville, and then it's really easy to get your tickets from there. I mean, I would recommend planning it.
Yeah.
During the week, we'll have more openings than the weekends. Weekends will be busier. We do open at 10 a.m. On the weekdays, 9:30 a.m. on the weekends. It's really easy to get to in the Foothills Mall. You can enter from the outside, so right next to BJ's Gas. They just built a new BJ's there.
Yeah, you can't miss that.
There's an entry right there, and then you can enter through the mall. We're essentially the opposite side from Publix. But it's going to be it's just going to be a great summer in Knoxville, East Tennessee area with Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience, a world-class exhibition that's now right here.
But you don't have to travel to see this. And this is something that you travel to see. I've traveled to see it, and it was well worth it. So, and you're going to want to see it more than once. I mean, you'll see it the first time, and you'll want to go back and see it again.
We do have a lot of repeat visitation because it is such a special experience. And we do have, as we said, yoga classes, painting classes, but also there's educational materials for summer groups.
Oh, I think that's
summer
great.
Camps. There's educational material for school groups. It's great. It's great for senior centers for a day out. I mean, it really is great. It's a great date night. You were saying your son is going to
Yes,
bring
he's gonna
his gang.
My 20-year-old son enjoyed his experience so much that he's told his friends, 20-year-old boys now, who are into golf, lacrosse, and football. He said, guys, we're going to go see this. I want you to go with me to see
It
this.
really is the technology, the artist himself, the music, all the learning, and as we were saying, that learning just kind of, you come away knowing a lot and you don't even know you were learning. So that's what
Exactly.
makes it so special too.
Exactly. So you're going to want to do this one more time on the website because I want to be sure people know how to get this.
VanGoghExpo.com.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim. It's great being here.
It's great having you here.
I'll be back tomorrow. And with the support of the community, we'll continue to bring new content to the Foothills Mall. We built a great immersive space there. We can bring all kinds of content. We just need to make sure that people come out and support us.
You guys hear that? Come on. We deserve this, and y'all need to show out. This has been the East Tennessee Report, a public affairs program of the Summit Media Corp Knoxville Radio Group. I'm Kim Hansard. Come out and see this experience at the Foothills Mall and running throughout the summer. Make it a great day.